So hello everybody, this is American Sequel Predictions, and I'm back with a new video. Today I am doing Ron Paul versus Obama in 2012 if he was the nominee. Now, if you look at Ron Paul, he was really solid on basically all the issues. The fact is that Mitt Romney was pathetic. He didn't run a good camp. He was weak. He basically gave in to Obama. Ron Paul would have probably done a different approach. But the thing is that I don't think Ron Paul would probably win. But to be honest, I think it depends on his age. I just think that his age would just be a major factor, as he's kind of old. But he could probably change that. But, well, I'll do the map layout. So, Obama's, of course, going to win all these states. These states are too Democratic. I don't think I need to talk about these. New York, Illinois, California, Oregon, Washington, Hawaii. Ron Paul's safe states are these: North Dakota, Nebraska. I think I'll put Nebraska second as a toss-up. Kansas, Oklahoma, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, Utah, Alaska, Prime Missouri, Iowa, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, South Carolina, Kentucky, Texas, and probably Indiana, West Virginia. So yeah. Likely Obama states. I think New Mexico would be likely. Ron Paul, I think. I don't really know if he's the best to Hispanics. I don't know, but it's still probably the Obama state. Maine, I think. I think Maine's second congressional district will probably go to Ron Paul by a likely margin. I still think Obama will probably win an area like Minnesota by a likely margin too. And Obama will probably win the rest of these districts. Okay, I think now it's time for more of the likely Ron Paul states. I think a state like Georgia would be likely. I mean, again, it's 2012. It's not as diverse, and it's probably would someone like Ron Paul. He'd probably do better than Mitt Romney in a lot of rurals. So I think he'd win Georgia by a pretty comfortable margin. Arizona as well. People say it's a neocon state. I think Ron Paul will still be able to pull off by 6 or 7 points in Arizona. I think Ron Paul will probably also. I think he'd win Iowa by a likely margin. I think he can appeal to a lot of these farmers out here. Okay, now it's time for the lean Obama states. I think a state like Michigan would be lean. I still think Ron Paul would still have a lot of work to do in a state like Michigan. But I think Obama would, at the end would go with it. I also think a state like Colorado would also be lean. I mean, I think he would do well in some of these more. He might do well in the Denver suburbs, but it's just not going to be enough for him to carry it. State overall here, very trending left, and it's probably just not going to be enough for Ron Paul. But I do think Ron Paul could make it competitive. I think Ron Paul will probably win North Carolina by a lean margin, probably around by 3 points. I think he is pretty good at the issues. I think he would hold on to all the states that Bailey Mitt Romney won. Ohio, I can see going red, to be honest. In this scenario, I think Ron Paul will be able to appeal to some of those working class voters. I think he'd do well in Cincinnati and Ohio suburbs, just enough for him to win. He's definitely not going to win by Trump's margin, but I do think at the end he'd pull it off by around 4 points. Basically half of Trump's margin. But at the end, he still wins Ohio. Virginia, I think I could see Obama winning it. I mean, there's a lot of bureaucrats in the Nova area. They probably would despise Ron Paul's and the Fed movement and that stuff. And although I do think Ron Paul would do well in the Hampton Roads, and I do think he would rack up strong rural margins, he won't be getting those Trump margins. Exactly, he'd probably get somewhere in between Mitt Romney and probably Trump in a lot of these rural Appalachian counties. At the end, it would just hurt him, and he would just lose Virginia. I think Nebraska's second. I think at the end would probably go to Ron Paul by a lean margin as well. Okay, now it's time for the tilt states, the states that I think it all depends on. I think at the end of the day, I think Obama would still narrowly win Nevada. I think he'd just run a good campaign there. That'd be enough for him to be able to win Nevada. I don't really know. I didn't really know Nevada really that much in 2012. But I think at the end, I think Obama would probably narrowly win it. Wisconsin, I can actually see narrowly going for Ron Paul. He is pretty pro. I think he'd do well in the WOW counties and do well upstate. A lot of I think there's a lot of libertarians upstate in Wisconsin, actually, especially parts of the rural area. So he would really energize voters up in Northern State. That'd be enough for him to knock out Dane and Madison. That'd be enough for him to win. Pennsylvania, I think I could also see. I mean, this was also Ron Paul's home state. I think he would do well. I don't think he would get as well in the Philly suburbs, but I do think he would definitely do way better in the rurals and probably the Pittsburgh area, the more industrial area. I think he'd come from the center. I think that's where Ron Paul would probably do the best. He's probably not going to get Trump's margin in an area like Luzerne or Lackawanna, but I think he would do well, probably better than someone like Trump in the Philly suburbs. That'd probably be enough for him to win Pennsylvania. Florida. Oh wait, okay. Florida, which is home to a lot of Hispanics. Miami-Dade County, we all know that delivered for Donald Trump in 2020, but I think at the end, I think Ron Paul could narrowly win the state. Ron Paul would do just a little bit better than Mitt Romney in these rural counties. That'd be enough to knock out Miami-Dade County. I think it looked probably something like when Trump won it back in 2016. It probably looked something like that. Ron Paul probably win Duval County in that area, and that'd probably be just enough for him to eke out a win in Florida. I also think Ron Paul would do well in the Panhandle. A lot of military retirees here, they probably don't want to go to war, so they'll probably support Ron Paul. So that'd probably be enough for him to win Florida. New Hampshire, I could see narrowly going to Ron Paul. It's a very libertarian state. I think Ron Paul has a pretty good message here. He'd probably win Hillsborough and probably just win New Hampshire overall. That'd be enough for him to put it over the top and beat Obama. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. American Seagull Predictions out.